Oh, what the hell was this movie? Well, I'll tell you. Soul's exclusive movie, really only made to sell some cars and toys. This movie in general is just really bad. Um, it likes to just blatantly ignore logic and not write well written dialogue to like propel the plot forward in an interesting way, or heck, even subtle way. The characters are uninteresting. The dinosaurs look fine, but I expect that out of a movie with $100 million budget. Visuals are like the bare minimum of a film, especially of this caliber. If the characters make really stupid decisions, the kills aren't really anything interesting. It's not scary or intense in the slightest, because again, I don't care about the characters. There is no theme that, or even if there is a theme, it's pretty half-assedly done, and it was like done way better in the first movie. This one's just a worse, just like a shitty rehashing of the first one. It's it's pretty obvious even within the poster. It's just like the original, but more cool looking, which I guess is like the kind of meta part of this movie, because everyone wants everything to be bigger and better. But here's the thing: the movie, while trying to make fun of that, I guess, or like make that like known that it's not a good thing, kind of falls within that, because the movie is basically just the first one, just relying on nostalgia and just being bigger and better. So I don't know if that's intentional or unintentional. I don't know, honestly. Because yeah, while the film tries to have a theme about like it doesn't. Not everything has to be always bigger and better. The film itself relies on that and nostalgia. So I don't know. I thought this film was really bad, and I'm just gonna get into it right now. So the film starts with them eggs hatching in a lab, and we see the Indominus Rex as a baby, or at least I think one of them, which I felt like you should have removed and done something better, considering you decided not to show this thing in its entirety until 40 minutes in, and the scene shows its face, and we briefly see some parts of it. So it makes the reveal of it what it. So it makes the reveal of what it looks like kind of pointless, because we could pretty much make the image in our mind, and it'd be rather accurate. We then get a cheap ass jump scare from a bird, and then we see some kid named Gray who loves dinosaurs, which shouldn't come as a surprise, since at least one character in each movie has either had a run in with a dinosaur or studies them or loves them. I think that would probably be the target demographic, but some people that don't like dinosaurs might just come because it's another theme park and just because everyone else is going. I don't know, make a movie about that, I guess. I don't know. They all pack up and leave in this car, but not before we get a pointless romance side plot, which goes literally nowhere, with Zach, who's also pointless as well as being boring. And this girl with some really cringe-worthy dialogue. Cut to an airport where Zach and Gray get their tickets, and we apparently their parents are getting a divorce or something, which also goes nowhere besides one scene. And I guess they make it up at the end. I don't know. Just why did you add this in then? They get to the park and meet their babysitter Zara, who's totally not gonna die and have a horrible unnecessary death, which will contradict the point of this film, I guess. Or us liking their dinosaurs. They get to a hotel and Gray opens some doors, and then we get the classic Welcome to Jurassic Park music for a bunch of shops. Whoa, so cool, nobody cares. We then meet Claire, boring executive or whatever, who agrees he's 3 possible investors and says, well, nobody's impressed by dinosaurs nowadays. Which is just, no, that's never gonna happen. Kids are amazed by fake reconstructions of their bones, and now because they've been here for like 20 years, mostly in private islands, not even open to the public, they're bored? Bullshit. By that logic, nobody should have cared when the only full skeleton of the Spinosaurus was bombed and utterly destroyed because we knew about it for a while. Complete bullshit. Claire reveals a new dinosaur called the Indominus Rex, and Dr. Wu is here. Yay, see how the dinosaur was designed and now it's ready, even though that's not really true, considering, yes, the dinosaur itself is ready, but not the cage, it's still in development. So you could just say the dinosaur is ready, but the cage still needs to be worked on. Zack and Gray go to a center where they see a recreation of the extinction of the dinosaurs, and kids are amazed by it, which further supports how stupid this story is. If they're amazed by the extinction, why not the actual dinosaurs that went extinct? I'm talking a little too fast. It turns out Claire's there, but she can't go with them, and this film portrays her as a bad person, which she kind of is later in this movie in Fallen Kingdom, because she gets a bunch of people killed, but here she's just doing her job. You really... Is Colin Trevorrow mad? Did he have, like, a bad experience with, like, his mom barely able to talk to him when he was young? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to work. Like, she's not the bad guy. She just has a job that's very demanding. She's one of the higher-ups, and she's literally working all the time. Plus, she gave up VIP or fast passes. So, like, isn't that cool? She leaves and meets up with Simon Mizrahi and his teacher, I guess, on a helicopter, which he doesn't have a license for, but he'll get in 2 days. They get over to the Indominus Rex paddock where Mizrahi and Claire are, and they talk about the new dinosaur and how they should bring Owen here, and then we see Owen talking to these 4 raptors, Blue, Delta, Echo, and Charlie, though they look rather similar, and I'm not going to bother to differentiate who is who in each scene, because that's just going to be too much. Probably put more effort than the screenwriter put into this piece of shit. Yeah, Owen feeds them, but technically only 3 of them, as he feeds one of them twice, I believe. Weird. Or at least it just looked like that in the shot. Hoskins comes, so there's this character called Hoskins, and he comes in and suggests they should use raptors for war, which is a terrible idea. They may switch sides, which they do in this film, or be easily killed. They're not bulletproof. Hoskins does make a good point about how they own these animals, because extinct animals have no rights. I mean, that kind of sounds like slavery a bit, but these things were dead, technically not even animals, just fake reconstructions. But a pig is loose, and this guy working there falls into the cage, which should have broken his back, I guess, or messed him up real good, but Owen probably goes in there, which is kind of stupid, but he ends up working as the guy gets out, even though, again, he would probably be complaining about some back injuries, and barely be able to walk. Owen gets out of the cage before the raptors can attack him, but the way he does it is, while the cage starts, to close, he doesn't move, and then starts running. And aren't these things kind of like dogs a bit? And they'd run after you if you start running. So how about what you do is, he could have slowly started walking back, while having his eyes on them, and they would have walked a bit forward. And then when he was close to the cage, he could have started running a bit, so, I don't know, that still wouldn't have startled them as much, I don't know. That still probably would have startled them. But, I don't know, cut to, Zach and Gray, who run away from Zara to go to a T-Rex feeding show and get a call from their mom, whose name I forgot to mention. Her name is Karen, which makes sense considering after she calls, Zach and Gray, she calls Claire and complains and dumps all her problems on her and gets mad at her. You do realize she has a job and always has to work. It's not her fault. Don't dump your problems on her. Jesus. Claire gets over to where Owen, I guess, lives on the island for a little bit, I guess, and talks to him about going to Dominus's paddock, and then we get some lines explaining how they're on a date, etc., and it's really cringeworthy, but luckily for us, they cut to Zach and Gray watching a Mosasaurus show, which is actually pretty cool. But then we cut back to a dumb scene of Owen coming to the paddock for the RX. I call it that for short. The reason why the scene is dumb is for a couple reasons. One, apparently Claire says that what the IREX is made up of is T-Rex and the rest is classified. That's dumb. You should know what it's made up of, because later it uses camouflage, which is something you didn't know it could use to kill people. I know it might have been private information, but aren't you one of the higher-ups? 2, the dinosaur is raised in isolation. I guess that's the point. That's the point the filmmakers are trying to get across, that this is bad. But why would anyone in their right mind do this? This creature won't exactly function normally, especially when visitors, visit it. It'll try to break out like it did actually before. So I get that's the point, but still, why would anyone... You're just making the characters seem dumber, so I don't care if they die. 3, the whole reason this thing breaks out is because those idiots went inside the cage and went out through the huge door instead of the small door. I know it's from the other side, but you could have evaded it through zigzagging it through leaves and stuff like that. So yeah, the Indominus Rex breaks down, kills the security guard who took all his time to hide him from a truck, and he kills another guy. But that's stupid. He could have left or drove off in that thing. Also, Owen sprays some fuel to cool down its thermal pattern, even though this thing is part raptor, which means it can, smell or sense you a mile away. So he should have sensed you before you even went under the thing and put oil. So even if you lost track of where you are, you'd probably, or she would probably realize, hey, you were last under that truck, so I'll just check. Also, or at least this thing should be diagnosed with clinical stupidity, because that was really stupid. Also, this T-Rex is not able to... also, the IREX is not able to catch up to Owen, even though this thing is per T-Rex, which can run up to 45 miles per hour, and an average human can run up to 28 miles per hour, I think. That's searched up. So that's BS. Claire gets to HQ and says, ACU will contain this dinosaur quietly, and also apparently with non-lethals, which is incredibly idiotic and dumb. Hoskins and Omar, sorry I forgot to mention, he's a pretty cool character, are told that an asset is out of containment, and Hoskins calls someone and says how they might have an opportunity. What? An opportunity to get back to the whole divorce thing? Great. So yeah, Gray said that this whole divorce thing is happening, and while it can be annoying, I don't really mind it, as I guess it's something new, I guess. More character depth, I guess. Either way, we cut back to ACU, who gets completely obliterated somehow without blood, for the most part. Do people in this universe not have blood? I guess that's why they're so stupid, because they don't have any blood flowing to their brain. Looks like using non-lethals was stupid, but Masrani mentioned earlier that, he literally mentioned earlier that he doesn't care about costs. He just cares about if the people are having fun. Now he cares about costs? What? Is this your way of making the movie continue on because of a change of character that's just really stupid? Claire doesn't help, so she's partially responsible for these deaths. Yay, this is our female lead. Someone who willingly let innocent people die, and not step up for, the greater good. How's this What? Okay, great. Zach and Gray get on a gyrosphere, and even though they get a message that the ride is over, Zach decides to be an idiot, cool, and go to an unauthorized section of the park, where they probably get attacked by an Indominus Rex who kills other dinosaurs. Also, may I mention how bland the dinosaurs look? Most of them are like gray, white, or black, which is really unpleasant and boring to look at. They make for a visually unappealing part of the film. The two kids escape through the jungle and into some water, and the Indominus Rex leaves. We think it has some emotional scene of an Ampasaurus dying, and I guess Claire sympathizes with them now. Apparently, this one, others die because the Rex kills for sport. Okay then. Remember Hoskins' call? Well, he was calling some people that are now here. Cool. Zach and Gray apparently find their way to the abandoned visitor center from the OG and ignite everyone's nostalgia, which is totally not trying to drift our attention away from this extremely lame and boring plot. This is literally the first one, like I said, just worse. Which is funny because the poster's just... Wait, I already mentioned this. They fixed this, also original Jeep, I guess. It looks like one from the original, and leave just as Owen and Claire get there, which I feel like they should have heard their Jeep, but whatever. In any case, the IRX finds them conveniently and tries to kill them, but obviously they live. The IRX gets distracted by a helicopter with two guys and Masrani on it, which is dumb because he doesn't even have a license, and it's not with his teacher, but whatever. They don't last long, though, before the two guys die, and Masrani dies, too, from getting blown up from the helicopter, when the helicopter crashes into the aviary, which lets all the pterodactyls and dimorphodons out. Zack and Gray get to the main part of the park just as the pterodactyls and dimorphodons do too and cause havoc, and Zar dies in a really violent way. Yeah, remember a few scenes ago when they tried to make us care for the dinosaurs? Well, now I don't, because they're just straight up murderers that kill an innocent person. Also, I'm pretty sure pterodactyls don't eat people, they just eat like fish and stuff, and apparently the reason why they're attacking is because of some dumb reason, is because apparently the pterodactyls are thirsty and hungry. 1, they only eat fish. 2, we don't really see any pterodactyls eating. 3, we don't see any pterodactyls drinking. All they do is, some just go into the tank, but none of them are drinking. Even if so, why are you drinking Mosasaurus tank water? That's incredibly stupid and kind of unsanitary. Excuse me. And while that's happening, Claire and Owen make out after she saves him from a Dimorphodon. Oh, and she finds the kids. Why isn't she saving other people instead of just standing there and making out? I guess they have chemistry, even though it doesn't really seem like they have chemistry. Also, Lauren Durden's character was much better. She rebooted power, faced a scary raptor, was mostly alone, was in a car chase with the T-Rex, and much more. This lady shoots on Dimorphodon, finds her kids. Really nothing else, unless I forgot some stuff, which would make sense because this film is really forgettable. Most of Hoskins' people show up, and even more when Owen and Claire try to stop them, and they eventually agree with the whole armed raptor thing. Okay, wow, really put a fight up their own. So, badass and cool. Just kidding, you're lame. So the Raptors get to send the IREX, because there's a part of the IREX that it ripped out because the tractor was on it. I guess I figured out it was on there somehow. I neglected to mention it because it was kind of pointless. So yeah, the Raptors get to send the IREX, and they all roll out and eventually stop and see as the IREX comes forth, and Zack and Gray are apparently not able to watch this in the vehicle for no reason. Was it going to be bloody? How would you know? I mean, for all you know, they might win. The IREX starts talking to the Raptors and gets them on her side, and they start killing people as the IREX leaves. Oh yeah, there's a twist, it's part Raptor. Wait, I already mentioned that, but whatever. And Delta gets blown up as she just stares at Owen, because I guess she's neutral for that moment, instead of killing him, because they have emotional attachment. Okay, even though some of the Raptors try to kill Omar, who I don't know if he had much of an emotional attachment, but he was with Owen. He's like one of Owen's friends, so why would you attack one of Owen's friends? That's really stupid. Vehicle with Zack and Gray. I feel like he would have taught them to not attack Omar if they ever go rogue, I guess. So yeah, the vehicle with Zack and Gray and Claire are attacked by one of the Raptors, and they leave as we get a pretty meh chase sequence, which seems to be echoing the T-Rex chase sequence, but with no intensity at all, as the two kids get easily electrocuted one of the Raptors as Owen catches up. They all get to a lab and see Hoskins and his workers taking some samples, and Hoskins monologues a generic evil guy speech before getting killed by Blue, I think, off screen. Owen, Claire, and the two kids, which are Zack and Gray, I'll just call them two kids, I guess, for short, leave as they are chased by and use a hologram of Dilophosaurus to confuse the raptor. I forget which one it is. I think it might be Charlie. But are cornered by the other raptors in the IREX, but Owen gains the 3 remaining raptors' trust again, if you want to say that, as they fight the IREX, with one of them being blown up and the other being slapped/thrown, leaving only Blue as one of the workers in the HQ opens up Paddock 9. He is kind of a funny character, but I didn't really mention him too much. Which housed the T-Rex from earlier, which is also the one from the Og, and the T-Rex, which I will not call Rexy, because that's a terrible and cringy name. And And the T-Rex fights with the writer, making us think that the T-Rex will die, even though the last time a T-Rex died, everyone got mad. Rightfully so, as the Spinosaurs would have realistically not been able to kill it. But Blue helps as the Iris gets cornered and killed by the Mosasaurus and the T-Rex, and Blue stare at each other. Or as, and the T-Rex and Blue stare at each other. And remember in the original where, the T-Rex only saved the main characters because it was focused on the Velociraptors? Well, now the T-Rex is a straight-up hero that will save them whenever they want, and is friends with the Velociraptor because they don't kill each other. I thought these were realistic, or at least semi-realistic dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Not separated friends. The film ends with Claire and Owen leaving this big area and not facing a huge lawsuit for all the deaths they caused. The end. Okay. Sorry if I stumbled a bit. I don't know why I keep on doing that. Yeah, this film was awful. I don't even really know where to start. I'd probably go more in depth, but, yeah, the film really just relies on nostalgia to, propel the plot. Not really. It relies on stupidity to propel the plot, because the characters just make the dumbest decisions that nobody would realistically made. And it relies on nostalgia, which I really hate because it worked for me when I first saw this and I was much younger. And I just really hate that they're, like, ruining this franchise. They're just making it look cooler and better, but with more boring characters. They're just really lifeless. They don't have any deep, complex character traits. They're not deeply flawed. Owen is just a badass, I guess, who's not really that much of a badass. Claire's just an executive who's taught, I guess. I don't know. All she does is just shoot Dimorphodon and find her kids. Her nieces, I forget. Zach and Gray are just two kids that always scream and have, like, parents who are getting divorced. That's really... None of the characters are deeply complex. I know Tim and Lex... Yeah, Tim and Lex, right? I believe so. Weren't complex, but at least one of them... At least there's an interesting trait with one of them being, like, a hacker, and the other one... Well, at least Tim was... At least they were fun to watch. And the other characters... And the main characters in the first one had, like, theme... Or, like, had, you know... character traits. Whereas this one... They're just boring, lifeless caricatures, I guess, if you want to say that. I guess the reason, I don't really know. I don't even know. This one was just really bad. The characters are really uninteresting. I wish they were better than they were. I wish they were deeply flawed. I wish the Indominus Rex was actually scary. There was one semi-cool thing, you know, the camouflage. But that's really it. It's not scary. The deaths aren't cool. They're not really violent. There's a little bit of blood. The characters are dumb. I don't like how it just completely relies on nostalgia instead of just scenes that will make you nostalgic. I mean, it's fine if you rely on nostalgia a bit, but if you rely on it completely to drift us away from the glaring plot holes and idiotic stuff, then that just shows that you're not really good at writing. So, I am glad that Colin Trevorrow got kicked off of Star Wars, because he's a really bad screenwriter, because he wrote this and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which I might review soon. But, the Carnage Count for the Woodsman should come out after this. And that a Fallen Kingdom review should be multiple parts, because that movie is way worse than this piece of garbage. It's just so infuriatingly bad. I know people have talked about it to death, but I feel like not enough people have talked about this movie in depth, and I just want to talk about it, because I just really hate how bad the film is. Also, please do like and subscribe if you actually like the video. I'd like to reach, by the end of the summer, 500 subscribers. Or even 1,000 would be cool, because 90-something% of my subscribers don't watch my, don't subscribe, and I would really like if you do, because that would show that you actually like my videos instead of just watching them, because you could just watch them, and I could get the impression that you don't like them, but, because if you do actually like these videos, please do subscribe and stuff like that, so it shows me that you actually like these videos, so I'll continue them. So yeah, see you in the next video, make sure to like and subscribe, all this stuff, and yeah.